So, it's been a minute. Hi. Right off the bat, I'd like to apologize for having been gone for so long. I've been gone as I wanted to focus on my uni work, and I actually instantly started making part two, but it just got lost in the chaos that was my second year of university. It's really been a whole year, and I cannot believe it. Firstly, I just wanted to say thank you for all the views and the lovely comments, and I will not let them go in vain. Also, another thing, James told me I need to get references to the artwork I use, so apologies if I used your art in the last video, and I will try and reference where I got the photos from in either description of the outro from now onwards. Um, so really, since then, my collection has grown quite a lot since the last video, so I really need to fill you in on tons that has happened in my hobbying adventures while I build this new relictor that James got me for my birthday, as well as some just general other fixes that I have to do as well. So, actually, a week after uploading that video, I actually had my first game of proper Warhammer via the Wargaming Society at my university, not counting the trial game with Osh, of course. And it was a game against an Imperial Knight player who had a fully painted army stored in like one of those like special carry cases with like they look kind of like a fridge and they like close. Not gonna lie, this had me a tad nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. I had made my list via this unofficial app called Battlescribe, which is really good. Definitely recommend. Basically, I plugged in the units that I like owned, and it told me their stats, including how much points theirs worth, and like their abilities, basically like what they can do. My worst fears were then realized when I asked him about his experience with Warhammer, and he went and told me he's a tournament player who had recently joined the club and is literally paid to train other people. The list he was taking was in fact his tournament list, with some units taken out to make it 850 points, as I only had 847 points of Tyranids, and that's the points value we'd like agreed at the time. So he pulled up, he had one big knight and two little knights. I don't actually know what they're called. I think they're called arbingers. The only knight player I actually know is my friend's girlfriend who plays Chaos Knights, which have like completely different names like War Dog, Carnivore, Brigand. Honestly, they're actually kind of better, dare I say. Anyway, I had in my corner Winged Hive Tyrant, 2 units of Termagants, 2 units of 10, because, I'm not rich. A unit of Gene Stealers, and a unit of Tyranid Warriors, my beloved. Obviously, being the complete unit that I am, I tabled him first round, shown in protagonist style, and gained 10,000 aura with the society. Now I'm playing. Uh, they often say beginner's luck is like common in games. Warhammer, I'm afraid, is not one of those games. It quickly became very obvious that he was much better than me, and nothing I had in my roster could possibly scratch his knights. And what little damage I did do, he just regenerated, as they were AdMech knights. I'm not really familiar with the concept. However, this experience was not in vain, as he began to teach me how to play. What's AP, how does damage work, how do save rolls work, and he even revealed to me himself that he was actually nervous for this game because Tyranids were top of the meta, which I still don't quite understand what the meta actually is, other than people play tournament games, and from these a win rate is established, which is percentage of how many games the army wins. However, when he saw my hodgepodge list combined with the fact that they were unpainted, sorry, he knew it wasn't going to be a tough game. We then actually played again, this time with my Space Marines from the starter set, and we went over each phase of the game, except the psychic phase, which doesn't even exist anymore, so yeet. Basically, in a game of Warhammer, there are multiple phases in a turn in which you do certain things. So, like stratagems and abilities are in the command phase, you've got a movement phase, a shooting phase, where you shoot other units, and then you've got punching other units in the fight phase, arguably my favorite. I'd like to think I've gone much faster going through the phases, but my army is now a lot bigger, and I have so many rules to learn because of the sheer armies I have now. Yeah, I said armies plural, which gets me on to my next point, which is to say that my addiction has truly spiraled out of control, which is putting it mildly. As you can see, I was taught about the second-hand market, which is very useful, by the way, when it comes to prices, and all my guidance was to just buy the units I thought which looked cool, which meant I bought a lot of units without care of faction, role, unit size, and this brought me a lot of judgmental looks from both my flatmates and the people I hobby with. At this point, I almost have 1,000 points of Tyranids, 200 points of Tau, 200 points of Necrons, and 300 points of Space Marines. And by the end of the academic year, I had this. I know, pretty crazy. I'll try and summarize it briefly. I got stealth suits, crisis suits, and a Cold Star Commander, turning my Tau 250 point kill team into a 500 point combat patrol back when it was not a game mode and you could just have 500 points and just play this game. I got a very cool Firstborn Dreadnought, as well as the Emperor's Champion to make my Space Marine army usable. My Necrons, despite being something initially I didn't really want to invest in and I just really wanted to sell it, as back then I just wanted my, Space Marine army and then the Tyranid army, which are, good times when I just wanted, 2k Nids and 1k Marines. Now I'm so deep in it now. Gosh. But yeah, anyway, I turned it to, basically into like a combat patrol, which was essentially like the commonplace at my like war gaming society, as well as my friend group. Essentially with a Scorpec Lord and a unit of Scorpec destroyers. Then I did an incredibly wise thing of starting another army solely because I saw a Mauler Fiend on sale, and I was like, wow, that's a really cool unit, and it's a ridiculously good price. And I paid the most I've ever paid for a single unit to this day, £32.50, which was the exact same price as my Recruit Edition starter set, because I bought it from GW instead of secondhand, like a smart guy. To be fair, he is really big and is really good whenever I've used him. And to back that dog up, I got him some more dogs in Karanak, plus a unit of Flesh Hounds, as well as 2 units of Plague Marines, a unit of Bloodletters, and a Demon Prince, in sort of like a Word Bearer's army souped up with some Khorne demons, back when, allies were actually cool. Was this smart? Absolutely not. Was it awesome though? Yes. Now, as you can see, this quickly spiraled out of control. I even bought a unit of Orc Boys just because they looked cool, with no intention of starting an Orc army. I still don't know why I did this to this day. Like, I genuinely don't. I even received some Grey Knight Terminators for my birthday, and instead of just instantly selling them because I don't play the army, I kept them with the intention of starting a Grey Knight army, which my friends luckily talked me out of, and they have now been sold, as well as the Orc Boys, which have also been sold. As for my main army, the Tyranids, I got a Maliceptor and a unit of Formagons from the actual head of Wargaming Society at a very good price, as well as a Carnifex, which is posing here with my bloodletters, and lastly a Hive Tyrant Sprue, which I built as a Swarm Lord. He was very pricey, £27, but ever since I started Warhammer in 7th ed, and I was in year 7, I saw him in the store, and I was like, damn, I need that dude in my team so badly. As well as Space Wolves, apparently. Like when I was a kid, I really liked Space Wolves. Luckily, upon repicking up the hobby in uni, I became based and went to Black Templars instead, and Salamanders, like a real G. Unlike all the other models I'd bought, he was unbuilt, as well as the Mauler Fiend and the Cryptek, which were also unbuilt. They were like new on sprue. Year 7 me also wanted a Cryptek, so I don't think he understood factions either, to be honest. Truth be told, for a while, I didn't build any of them. I had what is called a pile of shame. They weren't already built or push fit like all the other models I'd bought previously, and they're also much bigger than the push fit assault intercessors which I'd built in the Warhammer store, with the store guy helping me, who was really nice, by the way. I thoroughly recommend the Portsmouth Warhammer store, which is in like Gunwolf area. It's really good. You should go. Eventually, I said no more, and on my next free day, I sat down in our like couch area, as I had the most windows, and I started building each model, starting with the Cryptek and ending with the Swarm Lord. I was going from smallest to biggest. I built the Cryptek fairly painlessly, although it did get a little bit fiddly towards the end, because I was using this like online instruction thing on Reddit, as the person I bought it off didn't give me instructions. Next up was the Mauler Fiend. This guy took way longer, to the point where housemates were actually checking up on me to see what on earth I was doing. I was gone for that long. Surprisingly, there was no judgment from them, although I was helped by the fact that the Mauler Fiend, even grey, was quite a cool looking model. However, whilst building it, I made a blunder. You see, the Fiend kit doesn't just build the Fiend. A lot of Warhammer kits are like multi-pose, so you can either build one type of unit or another. In this case, the Forge Fiend or the Fiend. I wanted the Fiend as it looked cooler and it was perfect for my Wordbearer's armies, which was called Who Let the Dogs Out, since there's Karanak plus Fleshhounds and a Fiend. However, they have different feet, and I glued the wrong foot on the leg, making mine unbalanced at the base. I messaged my friends only to find out there is nothing I can do. The glue is permanent. It melts the plastic and bonds with it. Basically, the dog is cooked. In the end, it actually turned out not bad, and I love my Mauler Fiend, but the balance is probably not the best. Literally. Finally, I left the best until last. My baby boy, the Swarm Lord. I was really nervous, and I wanted him for ages, and so I was nervous that I almost just built a Hive Tyrant instead and was going to buy like a Swarm Lord secondhand. I actually even did a poll on my story whether I should build a walking one or the Swarm Lord, and I actually voted for the Swarm Lord myself so that it would win because I came to my senses, which I feel like is very fitting. So I started building it in my next free day, and I built it all evening, finishing just before midnight. And bro, the happiness I felt when completing him. Ooh, I thought I messed up his arms, but when I saw him complete, even I knew I had cooked. Even though he's never really been better than the Hive Tyrant since I got him, to this day, I don't regret him, and I play him at any opportunity I can. He's like my Pikachu, sort of like my signature dude. Lastly, I want to say I actually found a gaming group outside of the society. So it turns out one of my friends on my course, James, has been playing Warhammer for 9 years and plays Blood Angels both in Heresy and Warhammer 40k. Also, little side note, Heresy video will be incoming at some point, I promise. First, it started with me, James, and Osh doing a free-for-all 1,000 point game over some pizza. Low-key, I was cooking them. The Swarm Lord even took out Azrael, but then he got dropped, as did the rest of my Tyranids pretty much straight after because of the whole Synapse thing. Um, then, over time, we grew more and more through friends of friends, and there's now 7 of us. So we've got Barney, who plays Orcs, Ethan, who plays Custodes, Nadim, who plays World Eaters, and Alex, who plays Guard. Although most of us have multiple armies because GW has our souls. Since then, all my new armies have seen some game time with varying success, but lots of fun. I want to say nowadays, I'm slightly wiser with my hobby money, but judging by how much my armies have grown in the past 3 years, I definitely haven't. Lastly, my Instagram. I'm private on there, but feel free to follow me if you want, but just say that you're from the YouTube via DM. I just want to see if the demand is enough, and then I'll go public, as I don't tend to use it for Warhammer. But I will post Warhammer if you guys want me to. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I loved all your comments, and I look forward to hopefully making more. And until then, I've been your resident 40k collector. Goodbye, and have a nice day. Oh, I really hope that ambulance makes it in time.